Section 3, the general welfare. Section 3 discusses the highlights of myriad proposals that follow in chapters 10 through 20. No author is listed suggesting the co-editors of the Heritage Foundation are key authors. They highlight needed changes at Health and Human Services, which houses the federal health assistance programs, Medicare and Medicaid, whose large budgets are to blame for the ongoing national debt, conservatives argue. Here, Project 2020, 5 Ames Fury at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the National Institutes of Health for their handling of the COVID epidemic, including irrational, destructive, un-American mask and vaccine mandates per Project 2025. They also highlight the role of NIH and Director Anthony Fauci, who is deemed villainous. And was responsible for paying for research in aborted baby body parts, human-animal chimera experiments, in which the genes of humans and animals are mixed and gain function viral research that may have been responsible for COVID-19 claim conservative critics. The HHS and Department of Justice are given special attention here for having gone off the rails with a cultural agenda of leftist wokeism. The next HHS Secretary, Project 2025, proposes should pursue a robust agenda to protect the fundamental right to life, protect conscience rights, and uphold bodily integrity rooted in biological realities, not ideology. They should reverse the Biden administration's focus on LGBTQ+ equity, subsidizing single motherhood, disincentivizing work, and penalizing marriage with a pro-life, pro-family agenda. The DOJ should also enforce existing federal law that prohibits mailing abortifacients rather than harassing pro-life demonstrators. Respect the constitutional guarantee of the freedom of speech rather than trying to police speech on the internet. And enforce federal immigration laws rather than pretending there is no border. The following chapters present the key proposals for each department. Department of Agriculture, author Darren Bakst, Deputy Director, Center for Energy and Environment, Senior Fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute and former Senior Research Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, with noted assistance from Rachel Wilfong. Beggs calls for removing government hurdles to food production for the agricultural industry by reshaping the USD and reversing Biden policies that conservatives say place climate and environmental concerns over the need to efficiently produce safe food, removing safety and regulatory controls on large-scale farming and producers of agricultural products is central to this goal. Other proposals seek to remove unjustified foreign trade barriers, blocking market access for American agricultural goods. Reforms should be based on sound science, personal freedom, private property, the rule of law, and service to all Americans. Here, conservatives argue against the science of climate change and industrial threats that underlie Biden policies, including climate-smart policies designed to support food and environmental safety and agricultural sustainability. Proposals include, via executive order, remove all references to transforming the food system on its website and champion principles. Adopt America First agricultural policies and remove obstacles across the food chain for U.S. farmers. Remove the U.S. from driven sustainable development food production schemes. Review policies that impose preferred agricultural practices on farmers. Organic farming, sustainable best practices. Avoid or amend the Secretary of Agriculture's discretionary authority under Section 5 of the Charter Act of a slush fund of the Commodity Credit Corporation, a crop insurance program for pet project. At a minimum, limit funding to help farmers and ranchers only. Review and eliminate or reform farm subsidy programs. Separate the agricultural and nutrition aspects of the Farm Bill. Put nutrition programs like SNAP under HS, reinstate SNAP work requirements, and tighten eligibility for food stamps programs, including Thrifty Food Program and Women, Infants, and Children Benefits Program, and reevaluate regulations on baby formula to speed access. Review and tighten eligibility for free federal meal programs for K-12 students, the Community Eligibility Provision. Applying CE eligibility provision, applying CEP rules per school, not school district. Consider eliminating CEAP. Champion elimination of the Conservation Reserve Program. Review and reform erodible land wetland conservation policies. Promote proactive agriculture policies, removing barriers to state upmarkets and export markets. Counter scare tactics regarding agricultural biotechnology. Repeal the federal labeling law. Push volunteer labeling. Restore Trump Executive Order 13,855 to promote active management of forests and reduce wildfire risks, but promote timber sales. Repeal or reform USDA dietary guidelines. Commentary. Back's vision echoes long-standing conservative calls to remove government oversight of food and agricultural safety and farming husbandry practices, arguing they hamper business for farmers and ranchers. This includes the call for less environmental stewardship and rules related to sustainability that cut into profits for big agricultural producers. These cuts, coupled with calls to remove food safety labeling and decrease USDA oversight, would weaken current federal protections for food consumers of American agricultural and animal products. While some reforms might reduce costs of doing business for small farmers, the proposals reflect the goals of big agribusiness producers and desire to lower costs to compete with global competitors. The call to limit federal welfare food programs and require SNAP recipients to work is also a familiar conservative argument that too many people getting federal assistance are taking advantage of the system, choosing to live below the poverty level rather than work. If enacted, the reforms would likely increase hunger in America and push more of the poorest Americans into greater food insecurity, impacting young children and mothers with limited incomes. Chapter 10, Key Points. Via executive order, reverse Biden administration regulations for food and animal safety, including safety rules for large-scale farming. Remove Biden climate, smart regulations for environmental protection, climate change. Push America First agricultural production policies. Decrease welfare access. Enact work requirement for SNAP food program. Tighten eligibility for food stamps, Thrifty Food, and Ski. Cool! Lunch pool lunch program access. End required food, safety, labeling. Replace with voluntary labeling. Reform USDA. Revise its dietary guidelines. Restore prior Trump executive order to promote timber sales, forest clearing.